Hi, I'm Trina Campbell. We're here at the beautiful Lavelle Farms. The following is the latest in a series by internationally acclaimed horseman Peter Campbell. Watch Peter as he reveals to you the time-honored philosophy where the horse's mind and the human's mind join together as one. Thank you for watching.
Come to these clinics, I'm learning that there's easier methods and it's working. It's a philosophy, it becomes part of your life, you use it in all your life, and you start thinking like that.
There were a couple of horses, and then some horses didn't work out. And disappointed about that now, because if I had known what I know now from studying with Peter, I would have still had those horses probably. You know, I wouldn't have given up on them.
He had her doing less, and ultimately she got more. And that's a tough concept for people to understand.
And said, Laura, you have to come and watch this guy. This is probably the closest thing to Tom Dorrance that you can see. And so I sat down and started watching it with him, and just incredibly impressed with the ability that this man had with a horse. Really seemed to get to the inside of the horse. And that's what we wanted. We wanted some of that.
You want to kind of keep it in mind that you don't make anything happen. You fix it up and you wait. You don't fix anything. You don't correct him. You direct him. You support him. He takes care of the fixing. So if you head out to fix your horse, it's not going to work. It won't work. Because he's the one that takes care of the fixing. You direct him and support him, and he'll take care of the correcting. He'll take care of the fixing. Now somebody might say, well, how do we do that? And the way you do that is by directing his feet. You encourage, discourage, or rearrange the life in his body for what you want to have happen. So if every time you get on him, like here where he's busy, he wants to walk a circle, then that might be all right to walk one circle, but if you kept walking, that's what he wanted, you see. So you need to make it difficult for him, but not impossible. And you're always trying to work from a horse's mind, through his body, to his feet. But sometimes in order to get his mind, you've got to get control of his feet. Does that make sense? Got to get his feet to do something first, or it won't mean anything to him. So you got to get to his feet, and your reine's hooked to his feet. And that's very important. And you have to have a picture in your mind of what you want him to do. If you want him to stand still, then as soon as he offers that, even though it might not be what you wanted right at that moment, at that time, if he offers that, you can encourage it, right? Because he's having trouble standing still. So there's a lot of different things that you could do with your horse to help him understand to be let down and relaxed and not want to be anywhere else. And that's the key. When you're riding your horses, you don't want them to be anywhere else except where you are. Whether you're sitting still, whether you're walking him and you want him to walk, or you're trotting him and you want him to trot, or you want him to lope, you want him to lope slow, he shouldn't try to go faster. But he might try in the beginning to do that. But you just make it difficult for him, okay? You want response with respect, you see. And respect is understanding. Response is when his feet do what you want him to do. Make sense? See here, a lot of times when they want to move, once they find a place to stand, then they don't want to go again. See how he doesn't want to go? So if you hurry him there, now he gets more bothered, more upset, more cranky, because there's no direction. See there, I waited for him, there he stopped, there. I just let him relax there a little bit and rub him. Now that's okay. So now I'm going to ask him to step his hindquarters over. And see how he wants to move his front end? So we just keep working there, and pretty soon he'll figure out how to get the weight off of the foot that he needs to move, like that. Now I'm going to wait there for him to step back. I'm not going to pull. I'm going to hold. You don't pull on him. It might look like you're pulling on him, but you don't pull on him. Does that make sense? He pulls on himself. And there's a big difference in it. And you'll see sometimes when I take a hold of this rein, he wants to push me out of the way. And see, that's all the disrespect. The horse just disregards the human. He says, well, you know, I think I'll just walk on you. And I said, no, I don't think so. But you don't have to meet him at the door with a club either. You make it difficult. And pretty soon, he'll start to feel what we're feeling. See, first you feel of him, then you feel for him, then you both feel together. See, he's kind of like a child that's never been to town before. He's looking all over the place like you're taking him to the fair, and he's looking all over the place. But sometimes you're going to have to firm up. But firming up doesn't mean you get hard with him. Does that make sense? You don't get hard. And what I mean by hard is the softness. A lot of times when you're riding, people think the softness comes from your hands, and it doesn't. It comes from your heart, from inside you. If you get hard after he's tried, he'll be afraid. Does that make sense? Because you did too much. If every time he goes to move he wants to go forward, that's okay to begin with, because you're trying to get control of his hindquarters to step under, right? So you might as well use that forward motion of getting his hindquarters to step over. But if every time he goes to move and you got control of his hindquarters, now he's always going where? Forward, you see? So that won't work, because pretty soon he says all he thinks is forward, 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 forward. You know, there's some other things. You can take a hold of both reins and he can work at it by moving away from his own pressure, like him. You see, if I take a hold of these reins and I ask him to step back, he should just turn loose and step back away from that pressure, you see. In the beginning, what I teach you is to ask him to do something and give when he responds. But really, it's the opposite of that, just about. You release or ease off the pressure when he's thinking about responding. And then when he responds, you see, there's nothing in his way. But if I taught you that, pretty soon you'd ease off and he wouldn't do it. Right? And that's where the feel comes in. See, it's feel, timing, and balance. Don't work on the timing, work on the feel. The feel will bring you the timing. So as you go on, you're going to try to get him to do it by doing less, but by trying to ease off when he's thinking about doing it. I think a lot of us have trouble with the horses as we go on, because we don't even know he's going to do it. Most of us don't even know he's trying to do something for us until he's already done it. He's already done it. We're asking him to step back, we're saying, or step his front end, whatever. And the next thing you know, you're saying, okay, come on, let's just use the example, stepping back. And he gets ready to step back, and then we don't even know he's getting ready to do it, and the next thing you know, he's done it, and we go, oh, good. But if you had one that was bothered or a little troubled, you're going to have to ease off when he's thinking about it. You're not going to make you a willing partner by trying to force it. It won't work. The other thing you want to make sure you keep a secret from your horse, as long as you live, as long as you can, is that he is stronger than you. He is stronger than you. So do not make it a contest. If he's going to put all his effort into moving or to doing something and you can't hang in there and come out the other side, or what I mean by come out the other side, hang in there until he gives, don't try it. It ain't going to work. Because if you do ask him to step his hindquarters over, and all of a sudden, let's say you're asking him to step left and he tries to go right, that's okay. You keep working there until he tries. Maybe he shifts his weight this way. Maybe he just stops. He gets into neutral. You wouldn't keep asking him to do it until he stepped over, because it's small increments. You got to break it down. You got to think about it. Because we're waiting for physical things to happen. But it's the mental part. But don't just go, oh, I hope he's okay, and beg him to do it. That won't work either, right? Somebody's got to lead the dance. It's like two people dancing. If you go to dance and you both go, okay, now what? Nobody's dancing, right? Nobody can dance because nobody's got an idea. But let's say the lady says, let's polka. And the guy says, okay, but when they go to polka, he's jitterbugging. That won't work. See, they're not together. Maybe this can help you understand. They're not together, right? So somebody's got to get on the same page. Either the lady's got to start jitterbugging, or the man's got to start the polka. Now you've got, when they're both doing the same thing, now they got the right idea, now you've got to get in time with it, so that you're both in time together.
The mind and the body works together, and sometimes Peter's working on the mind to get the body to do something, or sometimes you have to work on the body to change the mind, but at some point they've got to come together. And that's when the horse looks different, changes, and you'll see that in people too. It's pretty neat.
And just remember, everybody starts at the same place, right? We all start at the bottom, work our way up. And here's the other side of it. You know, a lot of times we're trying to do things that we're not even capable of doing, right? I can remember back trying to do some things with my horse, and there is no way possible it could ever happen because I didn't understand it. But I had to try it so I could understand it. But I wasn't discouraged that I couldn't do it. So a lot of times there are going to be things I'm going to ask you to do that maybe, I hope not, you're all good riders, but there'll be some things I ask you to do that you're not capable of doing with the knowledge you have. But you're going to get to understanding why and how. And then pretty soon, you know what? It'll happen. But the part that you need to understand is don't get frustrated. Don't get mad. Don't get determined. You might have to firm up, but don't try to make it happen. Now, while you're sitting there, you see, there's a lot of things that you could be doing. And one thing you could do is you could be asking him to give you a soft feel. And that means where you take a hold of your reins, you ask him to drop his nose and chin down and in towards your hand, and as soon as he gets soft, release it. Let go of the reins. Just like those reins were hot. Don't go like this, watch. Let's see if I can simulate it. I'll get on here in a minute. But let's say I asked it to go, give me a soft feel, and all of a sudden I went like this. And just threw my rein down. See how he gets? So when I say release it like the rein, when he gives you that soft feel and he drops his nose and chin down and in, release it like the rein was hot. And I don't mean just an inch. I mean release it. Release it like it was hot. You get soft, woo, it's hot. Release it. So that pretty soon, when you ask your horse, he will get into that soft frame of mind where he's not bracing against your hand, he's not pushing, he's soft. A soft feel. So you're going to hear me speak of, I'm giving you a dictionary. You're going to hear me speak of asking for a soft feel. And then you're going to ask him, and he's going to get his nose and chin down and in, you're going to release him like it was hot. But don't just whack them and scare him. The other thing I'm going to be asking you to do is to step his hindquarters over. And if you're going to step his hindquarters over, let's all think hindquarters to the left. There's only one left, no matter whether I'm looking at you or I'm riding my horse. There's only one left. It never changes, right? So if let's say I was looking at Rich here and I said, step his hindquarters to the left, it doesn't mean that to my left. It's always you, okay? So that never changes, so you're not mixed up. So if I ask you to step his hindquarters to the left, you're going to tip his nose to the right, and you're going to touch him with your right leg. And he's going to have to shift his weight forward. He's going to step under like this. He's going to step over. And then you're going to straighten him out with your other rein. You're going to stop him. And wait there. Get him so that he'll wait. He'll stand still. Then I'm going to ask you to move his front end. And that's where you ask him to shift his weight back with both hands. You're going to ask for a soft feel. You're going to tip his nose. If his hindquarters go left, his front end goes to the right. His front end always goes away from the way his hindquarters move. Why? Because he's got to get his hindquarters out of the way in order to step over behind, to bring his front end through. So he steps over behind. Now that hindquarters out of the way, now his front end can come through here like this. Always. Always, always, always. And as you get going, he'll get more advanced. You'll reach on that rein, he'll get his feet into place, and then he'll just bring him through. But you got to start somewhere. So then I'm going to ask you to move his front end. And I think what will happen, we'll find out here real quick. But what will happen is when you move his front end, let's say we're going to the right. So everybody think to the right. So if we're going to go to the right, you got your right rein out away from his neck. It opens the gate from between the rein. See, right now, if I was to speak of it, this rein has closed the gate. Think of the rein and his neck. There's a gate. Now, if I take that rein out away from his neck, see how it opened the gate? So that front end can come over here. Now, don't drag him with your reins. Don't go, move your front end. That won't work. He moves his front end because of your leg. The more life in your leg, the more life in his feet. But what will happen, I don't know this for sure, but what will happen is the more life you put in your leg, the slower and slower and slower and slower and the slower he goes. Because what's happened is you've asked him to move, and when he didn't move and you got tired, you went, well, guess you don't want to move today. He says, wow, this is great. Response with respect. He says, I get the human to respond with respect. Right? Think about it. It's the other way around, because these things they're big. They'll hurt you. So I'm trying to have, what I want you to do is be safe, safety first. Have some fun doing it. Your horse will start to respond with respect. Okay. All right, let's trot him to the right of the arena. Now, before you drag him one way, before you just go and drag him, tip his nose, get his attention, get him to look, then go. Pretty soon you won't have to do that. He'll feel it, and he'll look, and he'll go. But in the beginning, you got to help him get ready. Prepare him. Now you're going to run your hand down the right rein, shorten up on the right rein, bend his head, step his hindquarters over. As soon as he steps over, you quit touching him with your leg, and he should stop with his head on your knee. Do not release it if he's pulling on your hand. Make sure you trade hands and you rub his forehead. When you bend him with your left hand, you'll bend his head. Once it's bent, you'll hold it with your right, rub him with your left. Right? Okay. Smile. Come on now. All right, let's trot him to the left of the arena. Watch when I ask you to go the other way that you just don't drag him one way. Tip his nose. Get him to look. He's got to look where he's going. He's got to. Now trot a small circle to your left. All the way around. Left rein, left leg. Don't lean. Sit in the middle of him. Go with his feet. Keep him trotting all the way around. Just one circle. You're doing great. Looks super.
And now, it's a matter of if I get it right the first time, I communicate with my horse. He understands what I'm asking him, and he does it. And he does it happily and willingly. So there's that little bit of communication and understanding. It gets rid of all the frustration and confusion in my horse. And they're willing and happy to do what I'm asking.
Getting your horse, once he's in the snaffle, getting him in the hack. If you're going to move his front end, what I like to see is him pivoting on his outside hind foot. Help him get into position. You prepare to position for the transition. You have to get your hands and your body ready to act, but you try to get his nose and chin down and in just a little.
For more information on clinics or videos, contact our office at 1-800-349-7078 or find us on the internet at willingpartners.com.